Hello, welcome back to my channel, or hello for the first time if you're new here. How you doing? What's happening? Today we're going to make hot cross buns. Why did I do that? It's Easter-ish. It's probably well past Easter by the time I've uploaded this video, but it was Easter. Today is the 7th of April and that means that Easter is very, very soon. And alongside Easter and Easter eggs and mini eggs and all those lovely things that you get at Easter time, you also get hot cross buns. So we're going to try and make hot cross buns. I have never made hot cross buns before in my life. I've not really ever made buns. I've made like kind of like almost bun. In Scotland you get these things that are like, they're pretty much like rolls, like a breakfast roll, but they're not, they're a little bit sweeter and they've got icing on and cream in. I've made them before, but they're practically a bread roll, so that's not really a bun. Either way, we're going to try that today. The recipe that I'm using today is a bit strange because it's asking me to put the yeast in with the flour and stuff rather than blooming the yeast in a sort of hot liquid. So for a change, we're going to do what we're told and just follow the recipe verbatim. Today's recipe is from the BBC Good Food website, so I'll link that below if you want to use that. I've already prepped all my ingredients, so I'm going to show you them just now and we'll just get to it because it'll take about 3.5 hours because you need to do things, but you'll see things we need to do. If you're watching this so far and you think, wow, that's a really snazzy jumper she's wearing, I really, really want to get my hands on one of those, you can. There's a link below to my merch. This is just one of my Sue Hulk jumpers. I also have kawaii merch there as well. If you want some of that, there'll be a link below, and I'm also going to have a promotion code where you'll get 10% off, and that will also be below. Anyway, moving swiftly on, let's have a look to see the ingredients we need. Hello again. So this is all the ingredients that we're going to need today. We have 300 millilitres of full fat milk, we have 50 grams of butter, 500 grams of strong bread flour, we have salt, which we will need 1 teaspoon of, 75 grams of caster sugar, we have some oil. You're supposed to use sunflower oil. I don't have any sunflower oil, so I'm going to use olive oil. We only really need 1 tablespoon of it, and yeah, but yeah, you need sunflower oil. 7 grams of dry yeast, 1 beaten egg, 75 grams of sultanas, 50 grams of mixed peel. We have an orange because we need to zest this orange. We have 1 apple which has been peeled, cored and finely chopped. And it's going a bit brown now because it's been sitting out for about an hour. If you want to prevent the brownness, you can just put some like lemon juice on it or cut it just before you want to use it. And we also have some ground cinnamon which you're going to need 1 teaspoon of. In this bowl separately we have 75 grams of plain flour. This is only going to be used to create the cross on our hot cross buns. So this can sit to the side for now. I didn't have this sitting out because I don't need it right now, but you will need apricot jam. You'll need about 3 tablespoons of this, and it's just to basically glaze the buns once they're made. So we don't need this just now, but you do need it. Additionally, you may need a coffee because this could be a long process, so there is that too. Okay, so we have all of our ingredients. Already washed my hands, so I'm just going to take our rings off. I'm going to wash my hands again, put my peony on, and then we'll get to it. So the first step that you're going to have to do is bring your milk to the boil, and then you're going to add your butter to that. So I'm not going to move my camera anywhere because you know how to boil milk. So I'm just going to go boil this and I'll bring it back. So my milk has came to a boil, and all I'm going to do now is add my butter and stir it. You're basically stirring this till it's fully dissolved, and then you're setting it to the side and letting it cool. Once it's cool enough that you can put your hand in and it's not burning, it's just hot. Not your full hand obviously, but your finger or whatever. Once you can do that and it's like cool enough to touch, that's when you can start to use it. So it's pretty important that you do this first and you give it time. So while our butter and milk are cooling, we're going to work on this sort of flour mixture. So what you're going to do just now is you're going to sieve your flour, sieve your 1 teaspoon of salt, your 75 grams of caster sugar, and then your 7 grams of yeast. Now again, it's very strange to me that I'm having to put the yeast in this and not put the yeast in a hot liquid to bloom, but as I say, we're going to do what we're told and we're just going to follow the instructions. I do tend to deviate from instructions, but we're doing what we're told today. So we're just going to give this a mix round so it's fully incorporated and nice and even. Now what we're going to do, now that it's fully combined, is we're going to create a well in the middle. And this is going to be where we pour our milky buttery liquid. Okay, so we've made our well and our milky buttery mixture is nice and cool now. It's not cool, but it's hot enough that I can feel a temperature when I put my fingers in it, but it's not warm when I put my fingers in it. It's tepid, it's a little bit higher than room temperature, which is what you want. So we're going to pour that straight into the well. Then we're going to just start combining that and just dragging bits in from the sides. So this looks like it's starting to combine now, so what we're going to do at this point is add in our egg. Already beaten egg. Okay, so just using the spoon, try and combine this as much as you can. Until you inevitably need to start using your hands. I'm just going to use my hands to try and bring it together a little bit more if I can. I mean, it looks pretty good to me, to be honest. It's very sticky, which is what you want. You need a sticky dough. Now what we're going to do is we're going to knead this dough so we have a clean surface other than the stuff that's just spilled out this bowl. And we're going to lightly flour it. So I'm going to grab some flour in my hand and just leave a wee pile sitting so that I can keep adding to it. Let's tip this big sticky mess out. There we go. Nice. So you're basically kneading this until it's smooth and elastic. Because it's a very wet dough, it is soaking up all of the flour I'm putting down, but if I don't keep putting a little bit of flour down, it'll just start to stick. It is already quite elastic. I'm trying to pull the dough and it's not really doing much other than sticking. Oh my god, this is so sticky. Okay, so it looks like we're getting somewhere because it's very elastic and it's starting to become pretty smooth. So I'm going to leave it there because I'm happy with that. So as you see, it's quite smooth looking now. It's not very rough. And very elastic. As you can see, it's poking straight back up again. I'm going to take my dough, plop it there now, take a large bowl, and I'm just going to oil it. So just putting a wee bit of oil in a bowl and smishing it about. Smashing. Okay, so this dough is going to go in here now, and it's going to go in a hot place to prove for 1 hour. Make sure to cover your dough either with a damp tea towel or cling film before you put it in the hot place. Doing that will make sure that it doesn't get a sort of hard skin on top and the dough doesn't go all hard. So I'm going to put this guy in a hot place and I will see you in 1 hour.
1 hour later.
It has been 1 hour. I actually tell you a lie, it's been 1 hour and 10 minutes. My dough has almost doubled in size. What we're going to do now is we're going to add in all of our fruit. So we're going to sprinkle in our sultanas, we're going to sprinkle in our mixed peel, we're going to sprinkle in our apples and our cinnamon. I've just put my cinnamon on my apples because I wanted to tidy. And then we're going to put our orange peel in. And then we have to mix this all together in the bowl and incorporate all of those ingredients in, which isn't going to be the easiest thing in the world, but if you just knead it in the bowl, they should fully incorporate eventually. I think my apple chunks are a tad too big, so my chunks are about that. I'd recommend cutting that into 3, so you're talking tiny chunks. Now, the recipe I'm following absolutely does say knead this in the bowl. If you've got a bigger bowl than this, do that, because this is quite hard. It's not a lot of room, and I feel like I would have got on a lot better if I could have kneaded this on the counter, you know. But my apple chunks just keep falling out because they're too big. It was funny. So Do you know what? I think I should just try and take some of them out because they're just falling out anyway. Honest to God. Hindsight is 20/20. Do you know what? That's probably as incorporated as I'm going to get it, so we'll stick with that for now. You're going to let this rise again for another hour. That should then in turn help everything stick. I'll leave that how it is now for another hour and see how we get on. I have oiled my cling film, and I've just put any oil that came out from before I've put back on my cling film, and I'm just going to put back over the bowl. So put this back in your warm place for another hour until it doubles in size, and yeah, I'll be back in an hour.
1 hour later!
Hello, welcome back. So I've got my dough here, and it has well and truly doubled in size. I mean, look at that beast. It's huge. What we're going to do now is we need to divide this into 15 pieces. 15's a bit awkward for an oven tray, but we're doing what we're told, so that is what it is. To divide it into 15 equal bits, I'm going to have to weigh it and then weigh the bits. So I've got a bowl here. I'm probably going to regret this, but I'm just going to plop this in here. Alright, so this is 1,166 grams. So that means I'm going to need to make 15 balls of 78 grams to make them all even. So the cling film that we used to cover it, we're just going to put on top of the scales with the oily side facing up. Wherever this surface here, and this is where we're going to put our pre-measured balls. So let's start, shall we? So we'll grab, I don't know, we'll start with that much for now. That's 85. Oh, this is going to be tedious as hell. That's 79, that'll do. Now the instructions that I have say to roll it in a floured surface, but I've just done that and it's not great. So I'm just going to show you what I would do at this point. But yeah, there's a wee bun. We're just going to put on the surface. Now, instead of rolling it in a floured surface like it's just asked me to, my hands are covered in flour, so what I would do is just start taking the dough and tucking it under itself, and that should hopefully create a nice smooth top. If you just keep spinning it round in your hand and tucking it under, you should be end up with a nice wee soft ball. And I think that's probably better than rolling it in the flour like the website told me to do. So once they look like this, cover them in cling film or a damp cloth and leave them to rise for another hour.
1 hour later.
Okay, so the buns have had almost an hour. They're just about to come out after proving for another hour. So last thing we have to do is make our flour mixture that will then create the X's or the crosses on our hot cross buns. You're going to take your 75 grams of flour that you had separate, and you're going to take 5 tablespoons of water and then mix it into a paste. 3, 4, now I'm going to leave it at 4 and try and give it a mix and see what happens. It does, it needs that wee last 5th one. I would say that's probably not even, nah, I would say maybe a little smidge. So that's 6 tablespoons I've used. So I've used 6 tablespoons and I've got this consistency, which is, I assume, what we want. The other, with 5 it wasn't enough for me, but just do what you can to get this sort of consistency. Now what we want to do is put it in a piping bag. I'm not going to bother with a nozzle because it's just piping lines. I may regret that decision, but we'll soon find out. Now you need to preheat your oven to 220 degrees Celsius, 200 degrees for a fan oven, and gas mark 7 if you've got a gas oven. I am preheating my oven just now, hence why you can hear the roaring fans behind me, so apologies for that. So here are my buns after their second prove, or their third prove now entirely. So what we're going to do now is pipe our crosses on it. So obviously we had 15, so there's a random one at the end. We can just pipe one line down and then pipe one across. So let's give this a go. This is probably going to be where I mess up, but whatever man, it's just buns. So I will cut my wee bit off there, and so the picture just shows you to do this, I guess, because you're going to take the buns off the paper, so it really doesn't matter if the flour mixture lands on the paper. I would say my flour consistency is still probably a bit too thick, but oops. So beep. Oop. Oh no, oh no. And because my flour mixture is so thick, I'm going to run out and I won't have enough to do the other tray, so I'll need to make more. That's what I get for following the rules. Usually I would just do what I want. So those look like hot cross buns to me. So these now go in the oven for 20 minutes. So remember I said that you're going to need jam, but you need at the very end. It's apricot jam, and what you're going to need to do is get 3 tablespoons of this and then heat it up gently. I say that, just microwave it a wee bit, taking it out every like 10-20 seconds and giving it a stir. This is basically to glaze the top of your buns, and you have to do that, hello, you have to do that as soon as they come out, so that it's kind of melty and whatnot, and that creates a nice glaze. Okay, so here are my buns out of the oven. All I've done is taken them off all of the paper, put them on a tray, put them on a wire rack, sorry, and I've put them over a tray because I'm going to now paint them with jam, and if any drips off, it'll drip off onto the tray. Now I'm just going to separate them as well, so they're no longer stuck to each other. Now they smell amazing. I am trying to cook dinner at the same time as bake, so I have accidentally forgot about them, and I may have overcooked this batch, but I will not overcook the second batch, so there's that. Again, with the measurements, they've told me to use BBC Good Food website says to use 4 tablespoons of jam. I don't know if that's going to be enough. I might have to microwave more jam, but that's okay. Worst things have happened to see. The difference it makes between glazing and not glazing is a big difference. It looks so much better. There we go. Lovely and glazed. So these will now sit and cool down for as long as they need, honestly. But I'd say maybe half an hour to an hour until they're fully cool, and then you can munch them. Hello, so the buns are now fully cool. It is now midnight. After I made the buns, I had to make dinner and all that kind of stuff, so it's very, very late at night. But here we are. So this is one of my buns, one of my fully glazed, fully cooled buns. It's sticky with glaze, so there's that. So I'm going to cut it in half and give you a cross section. So there is my bun cross section. I'm really, really happy how they turned out. They're very soft in the inside. The fruit is really well combined, even though the bits of apple were massive. They actually still managed to combine really, really well. They taste really, really good. One thing I maybe would have changed was I maybe would have soaked my sultanas for a while. They're not hard in any way, shape or form. They're just not as soft as I would have liked them. I would probably actually swap them for raisins instead, because raisins tend to be a little bit more juicy. But again, I'd probably still soak them. You can soak them in tea. A lot of people do that for like sort of tea buns and stuff, and tea loaves. I would absolutely make these buns again. If I did, I would follow the same recipe, which again is linked below. But instead of sultanas, I would use raisins. I would soak my raisins in tea, and I would put more cinnamon and probably a little bit of nutmeg, and I think they would be top notch. The glaze is perfect. They're very sticky on the outside, very soft on the inside, really, really fragrant with the zest and stuff that went in there. They're just great. They're just brilliant. They're 10 times better than the shop bought hot crust buns. So if you love a hot crust bun and you want these for your Easter, I fully recommend making these on your own. They're not difficult to make, they're just time consuming, but if you're up early in the morning anyway, or you've got the day before you want to serve them free, then just make them. That being said, thank you so much for coming to watch me make these hot crust buns today. I had a lot of fun making them. If you liked this video, please consider leaving a like and a comment, or subscribing, or all three. It really means the world to me. And if you would like to support me in any way, shape or form, I have a Patreon which is linked below, and I also have merch, which is this, as well as some kawaii stuff. Thank you very much, and I'll see you later. Bye! Are you okay? You're just foraging while I'm filming?
Alright. Meat.
Meat. Babe, come look at my buns.
Hell yeah.
Do you think they look nice?
Mm-hmm.
You know I'm talking about these ones, babe, don't do that, that's nasty. That's a family friendly channel. Really.